opposes illegal fees extortion by landlords. That is, Museveni rejects new laws on markets. That one you shall interest yourself of the story on page 3 of the new vision. Tanzania approves 13 trillion shillings oil pipeline project. Wow, from the Kingfisher project, a story like that one, you shall find it on page 8 of the new vision. Minister Nabanja asks Minister Chitutu to explain iron sheet diversion. That has been long awaited in the reports. That is, you shall find the details on page 4 of the new vision today. CMI operative reveals how Najirinya killers were tracked. Details on page 26 of today's new vision.
Well, in the Daily Monitor today, there is a big headline, New Health Law Bites. How it will affect you, the Public Health Amendment Act 2022, which President Museveni assented on the 8th of February, has stern penalties for offenders that include heavy fines of jail term. Ugandans who contravene provisions of the newly signed Public Health Amendment Act 2022 face a raft of stiffer penalties, including jail terms of up to 5 million shillings a year, of or a fine, or both. Details are in today's Daily Monitor. They break it down for you, how it will affect you. There is a 14 million shilling cumulative fine. Offences not expressly given a penalty will attract a fine of 4 million shillings, accumulating by 1 million shillings each day if unpaid. And then also they bring you the notifiable diseases, 3 million shillings. They bring you some of the fines, 3 million shillings for the notifiable diseases. Contravention of rules of notifiable diseases attract 3 million fine or 12 months imprisonment. Unvaccinated children will pay 1 million shillings or 3 months in jail. And then also anyone who suffers from any infectious disease and willfully exposes himself or herself without proper precautions against spreading the disease in any street, public building or place gets a fine of 3 million shillings, up from 300,000 shillings, or 3 months imprisonment. In all law details of this story are in today's Daily Monitor. Moving on, Serere votes new member of parliament tomorrow. President Museveni and Major General Mugisha Muntu, who was joined by Robert Chagulanyi, have rallied their camps in search for votes ahead of the Serere County by-elections tomorrow. With eyes on cash, government now reboots mining. And also, in other stories, new details emerge on OPM iron sheet scandal. There are allegations swirling that some ministers received the relief items without requisition, while others asked for the pieces after the disaster hit respective areas. IGG gives 24,000 leaders 30 days to declare their wealth. The same story that was in today's New Vision. And also, Christians asked to emulate Jesus as the Lent season starts today. Here at the Robert Kayanja Ministries at the Miracle Center Cathedral. We are in day 10 of prayer and fasting. You can join us, it's not late. You know, right now, let us look into our international news update. Bill, what do you have?
Mercy, it seems for Ugandans to comply with the law, they shall need to be fined, and that is why everything comes with a fine about the polio immunization. If you fail to immunize, the door-to-door immunization is on. You shall face a fine of that
1 million shillings.
Wow, for Ugandans to comply, we shall imply. So outside the Pearl of Africa, that is Uganda, we shall start with President Salva Kiir and his former rival Riek Machar agreed to share power 3 years ago. South Sudan's President Salva Kiir and his deputy Riek Machar have agreed to scrap a controversial law that allows the National Security Services to arrest people without an arrest warrant. This is a significant part of reforms agreed in a peace agreement to end a brutal 6-year civil war. Rights groups have described the NSS as a feared agency used to silence dissent and which has been accused of widespread human rights abuse. The peace deal was signed by Mr. Kiel and Mr. Machal in September 2018, but it took another 17 months for the two to agree for the form of unity government. Now the pair says a 3-year transitional period has been completed and they are moving into a new phase that will see elections in December next year and a formal transition of power by February 2025. More than 4,000 people are thought to have died as a result of the conflict, and violence continues in parts of this country.
Moving on, at least one person has died after a tropical cyclone battered Madagascar's east coast with heavy rain and powerful winds tearing roofs of houses and triggering a storm surge. Cyclone Freddy made a landfall yesterday, weeks after another tropical storm killed 33 and left thousands without shelter. Schools have been shut and the traffic has been suspended. Earlier, Freddy caused some damage in Mauritius, flooding beachside hotels. The Indian Ocean island nation is particularly vulnerable to cyclones. It is hit by an average of 1.5 cyclones every year, the highest rate in Africa, according to the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs. And Vladimir Putin has sharpened his vitriol towards the West as President Joe Biden, fresh from a visit to Kyiv, praises Western democracy for standing up to naked Russian aggression. In a week heavy with events ahead of Friday's anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Mr. Putin spoke first. The West had enabled Nazi Germany, he claimed, and had turned Ukraine into a neo-Nazi regime that was anti-Russia. Hours later, Mr. Biden said autocrats understood only the one word, no, no, no. Putin thought the world would roll over. He was wrong, according to Biden, vowing that NATO was more united than ever. Kyiv stood strong, proud, tall and free, and Western support for Ukraine would not fail. That was according to President Joe Biden.
U.S. authorities have said Norfolk Southern, whose toxic-landed train derailed in Ohio town, must pay for the cleanup or face the tough penalties. The train, which derailed in East Palestine on 3rd of February, was carrying vinyl chloride and other potentially hazardous substances. Norfolk Southern is now facing multiple lawsuits filed on behalf of residents, many of whom were forced to evacuate their homes. It has apologized for the incident. The Environment Protection Agency, which has the power to fine or sanction firms over environmental concerns, said Norfolk Southern would pay a cleanup the mess by the created and for the trauma they conflicted in the community.
Well, moving on, the former face of Moscow's war on drugs has been convicted by a U.S. jury of drug trafficking. General Garcia Luna, one of Mexico's security minister, was found of taking millions of dollars from Mexico's biggest crime group, the Sinaloa drug cartel. Garcia Luna was arrested in the state of Texas in 2019, had pleaded not guilty. The 54-year-old could face life in prison. At a minimum, Garcia Luna will serve the mandatory minimum of 20 years, according to a statement from the Department of Justice. And the pilot of a British fighter jet which crashed off a Royal Navy aircraft carrier has spoken of his relief at managing to eject from the £100 million F-35. Speaking shortly after the incident in November 2021, the pilot, known as Hux, said he only had seconds to react. An official investigation concluded the sudden loss of power on takeoff was probably caused by a cover being left on one of the aircraft jet's intakes. His story is seen today, and the documentary also reveals how the Royal Navy's HMS Queen Elizabeth ship was harassed by Russian aircraft and how it played a risky game of hide-and-seek with the Chinese Navy.
The total number of people killed in landslides which hit coastal towns in Brazil, Sao Paulo state, over the weekend has risen to 44. More than 40 others are still missing. Locals have joined forces with rescue workers to search the mud for survivors. More than 750 people lost their homes as torrents of earth and rock come loose from hillsides after a record amount of rain fell in the coastal area east of Sao Paulo. Meteorologists said more than 680 millimeters, that is 26 inches, of the rain came down in the municipality of Betogia in the space of only 24 hours.
Well, that brings us to the end of this morning's news update. Thank you for watching Channel 44. The Pastors Now program is up next with the different pastors bring us the testimonies of what is happening here at the Miracle Center Cathedral, of how God is moving and how the revival is moving on here. Stay tuned to Channel 44. Bill, you have something for our viewers.
And of course, we continue to remind you where you can get us or where you can still call your relatives or friends who haven't found out the best name in television and who are still not aware of where you can get us on any platforms they are at. DSTV, you shall get us at plate number 297, and then GoTV plate number 812. Just get your remote and put 812. You shall go straight, if you have GoTV, to channel 44. Then on Star Times, you shall just get on Star Times 290, you shall get us there. Then Zuku TV, you shall put 56, just press 56, you shall be able to get us there. Then Azam TV, advise them that haven't gotten us to get us on satellite number 152. Then free to air, you shall get us on 12, that is free to air is built inbuilt decoders of the TV. Yes, if you have and you haven't found us, you shall get us on 12, number 12. Then satellites, StarTime satellites, 468. Then of course we are on your TV. Then from mobile app, you can also find us there, channel 44. Then Airtel TV, we also got you covered.
Yep. I also remind you that we are still helping the people of Karamoja. Join us as the Robert Kayanja Bucket Initiative by sending your seed to the numbers that will be availed during the services, or you can come to the Miracle Center Cathedral, the church reception, sow your seed, indicate that this is for Karamoja. Alternatively, you can give it during the services. We are having revival nights every day. Here there's dream interpretation, great encounters with the Holy Spirit, deliverance sessions, and a lot that is happening here every evening. Whoever comes has not left the same, so come and join us. Your life will not remain the same again. Well, that is it for now. I remain Masiga Shegu Sembatia, Livingstone Kawesi.
And where is Bill Clinton?
Yes, good morning.